I'm Watermelon. I used to suck at Zealot Hockey. Now I don't suck. And I'm here to help you not suck either. This is Wednesdays with Watermelon. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first of hopefully many coaching streams that I'm going to be putting on. This is Watermelon, and I am joined by my good friend Swift. Swift, say hello.
Hello.
That was a great introduction. So first and foremost, I have to say, viewer discretion is advised. This is not the place to come if you're looking for an ego boost. We don't beat around the bush with this stuff. We're going to be watching some probe games, and we're just going to be pointing out everything that everyone does wrong. We'll see how far we get into the replay in a 45-minute span. As people that I've coached before know, I can go a really long time in one replay, so I'm going to try to not do that. So my idea for this show was I'm going to look at things that the community wants me to look at. I'm going to have a poll every week for which topic of Zealot Hockey you want me to talk about and which probe games you want me to analyze with that topic. This is a stream mostly for probe players. There are things that I will say that should give more insight to some ZHL players, especially people third and fourth round. So yeah, we can get right into it. The topic for today, there was no poll for this because I sort of decided to do this last minute. So there's no time for a vote. So we will be talking about offensive positioning with probe players. If you struggle with offensive positioning, you find yourself asking questions like, why are my teammates never open? How do I make plays from nothing when nothing seems open? I'm never ready when my team passes to me. Why was no one on defense? And why can't I score in general? These are problems that all probes have in probe games, and also a lot of ZHL players as well. So we can get into this. That should have worked. Yep. So we have here a probe game between the Aviators and the Manders. I have not watched this game. I'm opening this replay for the first time, but we are going to be going through this replay. We're going to focus on what the teams are doing wrong on offense. Again, this is not a place for an ego boost. We're not going to be talking about what the players are doing right. So if you're on here, brace yourself. It's not going to be pretty. And I do have this handy dandy drawing tool, which is actually pretty neat. Unfortunately, Swift won't be able to see that, but that's okay. So we get started in this game. It is the Manders versus the Aviators. The Manders are at home, and they are the red team. Right away, we have a problem. We're 4 seconds into the game, and we have a problem. We have a player moving backward for no reason. When the puck is already in his control, this entire area is clear of enemy players. There's no reason to be going backward here. Demos should have immediately started moving up like this. Sanji needs to be moving out like this. And the reason for that is when you're on offense, at the very start, you have to get up as fast as possible. If the puck is safe, you have to form this triangle as quickly as possible. And I'm going to give quick names to these players. This player is called the number 3. My writing is terrible. This player is called the number 3. As soon as this puck goes forward, say passes it up to this person. As soon as that puck goes forward, this person is going to be called the puck holder. Okay? And this person is going to be called the receiver. Receiver basically just means you're forward and you don't have the puck. So when I use these terms for the entire replay, this is what I'm talking about. Number 3 should be the last man back. Now, when you're on a rotation team, rotation just means people are going to be like, this person could go up, this person could go back, this person go up. When you're on a rotation, basically the way that you decide who the number 3 is whoever doesn't have a boost. So in this case, Birchester already used his boost all the way out here. So he should be rotating up to the middle here with these players going like this. So that's the first problem. Demos rotates back. Birchester doesn't have a boost, and Demos does. And that's going to stunt this offense. Because when the puck holder has no boost, he's going to get confronted pretty early, and there's not much he's going to be able to do. We have another problem. Okay, so the second problem with the red team's offense here. They form the triangle, so they do have a functional triangle for a short amount of time. Then what happens? The number 3 goes forward. All of a sudden, you have this blue defensive line right here. Nothing gets through there. And you have both open red players moving behind that line, with the puck sitting out here. What does that do? That means the only way for this player to pass is to bounce it off like this or bounce it down like that. The problem with both of those is it's going to take so long for the puck to reach there because these players have moved behind the defense that the defense should be able to cut that off immediately. What should have happened here is they should have let Sanji stay forward. One player should have stayed back here, another player up here, so that Sanji can move back forward again, or center the puck. And either way, if he turns it over, this player is going to stop whatever sort of breakaway happens. Okay, now we're going to look at the blue offense, hopefully. Swift, you can talk about what Birchester does here.
I have been paying attention, so let's look.
Right here.
All right, so the issue that Birchester is having, he's boosting down, trying to shark a pass that isn't ever going to happen. Because if you look at the offensive players for the blue team, Student and Kaok are both above him. So he's basically just boosting out of any passing lane that was possible, making them possible.
Yeah, pretty much. The problem with this is originally Birchester was covering the straight pass. So if I use gray to represent where the puck could go, Birchester's covering the straight pass here. Demos is covering the bounce pass bottom, and Sanji's going to block anything on top because it's so far away. But suddenly when Birchester boosts down like this, he's actually leaving the straight pass open. He's also just removing himself from the play. Now that he's used his boost, whenever the puck gets up to this area, Birchester's not going to be there anymore. He's going to have to catch all the way up with a boost fresh off of cooldown, and it's just not going to work. He's not going to be on defense. Okay, so they bounce up. Now we have blue offense, and we have another problem. Pretty much any play where someone doesn't score, there's something you're doing wrong. And just trying to eliminate any of these mistakes will always increase how efficient your offense is. So we have Chaotic with the puck. Prime is pretty much out of the picture, and Student is our receiver in this situation. Now, if we look at Chaotic's boost situation, Chaotic has a boost. Student also has a boost. And of course, Prime is way back here and doesn't have one. So what happens in this situation is most offensive players don't take their time long enough. You have two players with boosts who can make something decent happen here, but it's a 3-on-2. There's 3 red players. So you're going to have to wait and look for something that's actually open. You can't force a play in a 2-on-3. You just can't do it. You're not going to be able to click through 3 people on your own. Unless you're linking, but you're not linking. So in any situation like this, what you need to do is you need to wait until this player becomes a threat, or until this player is actually just wide open. So what Chaotic should be doing here is he should be moving out like this and like this. He should be moving along this little curve. The reason for that is as Sanji is trying to cover this pass, he's going to move on that curve as well. And Demos is going to stay right here to block any sort of drive attempt. Um, what happens when you wait for Prime to move up here is suddenly you're drawing Birchester back. And when you draw Birchester back, when Birchester moves back here to cover Prime, all of a sudden you can actually get around this player a lot more easily because he's now worried about two different things. He's worried about the pass right here, and he's worried about the drive. Whereas right now he only has to worry about the pass because he has one person exclusively covering the drive. Because when Birchester moves back here, Demos has to get on Student, and you have a one-on-one. Anytime you can isolate a one-on-one with a player, you have a better chance of scoring. And this is just too hasty. Another thing, you never want to use a boost on offense if it puts you in this area or down here. The reason for that is once you pass this cone, I usually draw it like this. This is what I call the threat zone on offense. Once you exit this black cone, what you're doing is you're telling the goalie that you can only do one thing. So if you're sitting out here, the only thing that you can do is pass across the crease. You can't take a shot from here. Any shot that you take is blocked by the goalie, just sitting still. And that's why you don't want to put yourself in this dead zone on offense. It just doesn't work.
And just a reminder, this is for goalies who are doing what they're supposed to.
Right.
And players doing what they're supposed
Right.
to.
And that
shouldn't work.
That's a good point. Anything that I talk about is going to be assuming a few things. Number one, you're assuming that the goalie does his job. He blocks near side, and he sits just like Spitfire is sitting right now. Because in this position, the force field will block an angle like that, and there's nothing the skater should be able to do from out here. So there's a tip for new goalies. You should never be in a position where someone can score from this green box. That just should never happen ever. All right, we can continue. So we have the blue team trying to recover a rebound on offense. They end up using a boost, and here's another problem. We're 30 seconds in. We're doing great. Okay, Student has to boost back to grab this puck. And if you remember what I talked about with the number 3 and the puck holder and the receiver, the way that you determine who sits back is whoever doesn't have a boost. So Student boosts out to get this. Bam. Student should stay number 3 here. He shouldn't be going forward. Because if he goes forward without that boost, he's not going to have any juking ability around the defense. He's just going to have to skate around them really slowly, and they're probably going to steal it. So what should happen from here is you should see the team forming a triangle again. So one of these players should be moving over here. The other one should stay over here, and you should end up with that triangle again. And what that does is it spreads the defense out. Because they don't do that, because you have another player rotating back, when you already have your number 3 back here, that's going to stifle your offense. So what you end up with is a 1-on-3, which is never a good situation to be in. Now, Prime does take his time there, but you can still see just how difficult it is to score from that situation. Now, here's our first good play on offense. Now, I'm gonna go through really quickly how this still could have been better, because that's what I do. We have our triangle setting up, and we have our puck holder boosting forward. Now, as soon as this puck holder boosts forward, what should happen here, the defender should be moving into that lane and covering it. And in ZHL, that's always going to be covered. You're never going to be able to boost forward and then pass behind the defender in ZHL. What should have happened here, just to guarantee that this pass works, is that Sanji should be boosting forward and then twitching back and passing. And what that's going to do is it's going to look like he's threatening this pass. So the blue defender is going to sit there, but he's actually twitching back and hitting this one. And that's going to make this play work more often. I know it worked here, but again, pretty much everything that happens in probe, regardless of whether it works or not, it can be a lot better. You never want to measure how good you are by how successful you are. You want to actually measure it by how successful it would be against, the worst
Better players.
possible, yeah, the best possible defense, I should say. So here's another thing gone wrong on offense. We have Burchester with the puck. He boosts back. He assumes number 3. Demo should go up as the puck holder here, and he does. Sanji's in a horrible position here. Just terrible. So if I go back here, and if I watch Sanji and see what he's doing, or Sanji, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but if I watch what he's doing here, he sees that this puck rotates, and he just stays out here. Now, what problem does this create? This creates a problem of the only thing that you're threatening is these bounces. And because Demos just got the puck, he has to charge for a little while in order to hit this bounce. If he doesn't charge it, that's just, if you look at the distance of the red lines and the distance of the blue lines, it's not going to be very hard. It's not going to take very long for Student or Prime to block this bounce pass pretty easily. So what Sanji should be doing here is, instead of putting himself in a position where the defense can block the net and the receiver at the same time, he should be moving backward. So he should just rotate out like this and then go forward again while Demos takes it forward. What does this do? It makes the defense have to make a decision. So the defense has to choose something, and if one of them messes up, you have a wide open shot. So what the defense has to do here is they have to have one person get in the passing lane and one person get on the shot. And it can be either or. Prime can do it, Student can do it, either one can do either. But they have to do that. If one of them doesn't do their job, what you're going to end up with is you're going to end up with 2 defenders in the same spot. You're going to have Sanji down here, Demos up here, and he has the puck. And you have a wide open shot on the net, because both of these defenders got a little confused and they're in the same spot. That's what happens if Sanji moves backwards here and Demos moves forward. The other thing that you need to be careful of is simply just blocking the snipe in general. If you're sitting out here, and I call this doing the Giggy Popper, which is something I've tried to tell Giggy not to do all the time. He never listens. Rip in peace. If you sit out here and you put yourself intentionally on the other side of the defense, like this line is blocked, if you do this every time, you're blocking the goalie's possible evac. Because if this shooter were to be here and you move out here and these players move like this, he has an open snipe. And what he's going to do is he's going to hit X early. And when he hits X early, it opens up everything. You could pass down like this after that X is gone for any number of easy goals. Or you could just shoot when the X is gone, depending on what the defense does. You have to make the defense make a decision. You can't just force your way in like this and make up their mind for them. And that's why this gets cut off. Okay, another offensive mistake. We're 1 minute in, and I don't promise to cover the entire replay. I'm going over everything that people are doing wrong. This is another problem of positioning. A lot of players make the mistake of assuming that they missed a pass because the pass was bad. This is not a bad pass, this is bad positioning. Bad positioning makes everything more difficult, including passing. So, what happens here? We have 2 players on the same line. Whenever you have 2 players on the same line, you have to correct it as soon as possible. Now, what I would have liked to see here because there's so much space right here, and I believe Student has a boost, if I remember correctly. Student has a boost coming off of cooldown very shortly. Chaotic has a boost as well. So because you both have boosts and there's so much space right here, Student should be moving up right here. And Chaotic should be threatening inside and then curling out and going back this way again. And what does that do? That makes Birchester follow this way, and then he's going to follow back, and he's going to get lost, and Chaotic will very often come out ahead in this situation. The other thing it's going to do is it's going to force Demos again to make a decision. He has to pick something. He either has to block Student's drive, or he can worry about the pass to Chaotic. And when you have a defense that doesn't necessarily practice a lot together, they're not going to trust each other very much, and you're very often going to end up with Demos covering the same pass as Birchester, and Student's going to have an open drive on the net. So that's what should be happening here. You should always be trying to maintain that triangle. Triangle should always look like this. So if you only have two players, the person with more space should be rotating, especially if they have the puck. The person with less space should be just faking that for a second, going back, going forward again. And that's always pretty much the best thing to do here. Also, my phone just closed Twitch, so I can't see questions.
I got it. They're not
Alright.
asking anything.
Swift can read questions if you have any.
I will be the Twitch chat
The
ambassador.
mediator. Okay. We're going to look at the positioning here by the red team as well. First of all, I don't know how Birchester is this far back. I really don't. This should never happen. You shouldn't be able to have the puck in front of the net with a player at half court. So I'm not sure if that's happening. You need to fix that. Sanji again is in the dead zone on offense here, which means the only thing he's threatening is this pass across the crease, which means there should always be 3 defenders here, and you're always going to have a really hard time scoring off of this. What I would have liked to see here, again, you have the lead. You're up 1-0. Okay, you're up 1-0, and there's no one pressuring you. Look at all this space. No one is pressuring the puck. Because of that, what I would have liked to see from Sanji here is he should be skating all the way out here. Just take his dandy time. And when he does that, his third man is going to catch up. Demos should be sort of curling back like this and then going forward again. And then you have your triangle again. And it spreads out the defense. You're going to have a defender coming out here, defender coming out here, and a defender going over here. And you're not going to have this bitch defense to worry about. They're going to be spread out when you do that, especially when no one's pressuring you. There's just no reason to force this pass. And that's what makes that really difficult.
So Restriel is asking where he should be as a defender, but we're not doing defenders. We're only covering offense this series.
So I'll do it for this particular play. As a defender, I just went too far. Basically, if you're a defender and someone is in this dead zone with the puck, you should just be on the crease. And when the puck hits this spot, when the puck hits the crease, you should expect your goalie to stay here and to not move down. And you should be moving down like this and spamming to the bottom. That should be your goal, because there's no one on the other team at the bottom, and you're going to be blocking. If you spam to the bottom, you're going to block this bottom angle just by doing that. And there's nothing that can go in on the net. Now, if this person were to catch it and then like somehow re-steal and go back top, the goalie should still be here every time.
And the reason the goalie should be there is because defense and goalie are a 2-man team, but we're not going to cover that this time.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. Okay, so we have another mess up here. Imagine that. Okay, so Prime gets the puck here. All of a sudden, let's take a look at boost for a second. Remembering who has a boost is a big part of the game, by the way. If you can get used to that, it'll help you out a lot. So Prime, Chaotic has a boost just barely coming off cooldown right now. Prime has a boost. Sanji has a boost. Birchester has a boost. So everyone has boosts here. Um, what should happen whenever you see yourself with the puck and there's no one directly in front of you, you should be boosting forward. The reason you should be doing this is unless you at least force a boost from this player, unless you can force this player to boost, boosting backward to hit this person is not going to help you. Because what you're doing is you're removing yourself from the play. This person's not in the play. Both of these players still have their boosts. And this player has to boost when he gets that puck. So what you're doing is you're forcing this player to go into a 1-on-2 with two defenders who both have boosts. And he's boosting so early, and he doesn't have a lead on either of these players. This doesn't produce offense. This actually just helps the other team. So you're giving this player a 1-on-2. You're forcing him into a 1-on-2 with two people who have boosts. So you want to be careful of that. What I would have preferred to see here is a boost that looks like this, where you skate in for a little bit and then you boost down while this player continues to go forward. What that does is that forces both of these players to boost, but Chaotic still has his. So if you can boost and you can make both of these players boost and then turn around between them, that's the wrong color, then turn around between them and hit that player with a pass, you have a 1-on-1 with the goalie because he's going to catch it here and he has just broad daylight to the goalie with a boost. So that's what you should be looking to do here. You force boosts to have both players, then get it to Chaotic. The other situation, the other thing that could happen is you boost forward and they don't boost. So Birchester just follows you side by side and Sanji just sits on Chaotic. All of a sudden what should happen there is Chaotic should then peel back a little bit, especially since Sanji is EU, if I believe correctly. Chaotic would pull back a little, Sanji would have to pull back, and then Chaotic boosts forward. And because Sanji is on European delay, which latency is something you have to think about as well, since Sanji is on delay, his boost is going to be late or messed up, and you're going to have Chaotic wide open. Those are two situations you can have here. What you don't want to do is force your player into a 1-on-2. Even though that pass wasn't executed, that's not why it wasn't a good idea. Okay, so we have a triangle here. Demos makes a good catch on this puck. He centers the puck. Alright, let's take a look at what's going on here. So again, we have our two defenders in the middle like normal, but this time, instead of Sanji going like this, he's actually just out here, which is better than that earlier play. Now what happens here is Demos boosts too early. The space that you have right here, that's not small enough to merit boosting. The only time that I would boost this early to center the puck is if Prime actually isn't here. If Prime is actually like somewhere out here, then boosting for this pass is totally worth it because you're gonna have a 1-on-1 with the goalie. But using your boost to make a pass this covered is usually pretty hard because, again, if you look at the distances of these lines, it's going to take a lot longer for the pass to hit Sanji than for Prime to actually just react to it and block it. A better situation would be if Prime is over here or even right here. Then you're going to be able to hit that pass before he can react to it. But because you have to lead this person, because you have to lead them like this, and Prime is already right there, you shouldn't expect this pass to work. Now, whenever someone faces you up, or what's a better way to say that? Whenever someone gets on you 1-on-1, like Chaotic is doing to Demos here, if you have someone on you like this, and you can't really get around them that easily, What you should be looking for is baiting their boost. You want to bait their boost before you make the pass. So what you can do is something like this. You can fake inside a tiny bit, which will get chaotic just to tap in. Then you boost out. And what happens is because chaotic tapped in, he's going to have to follow you, and he's going to be in the passing lane instead of the shooting lane. Then you can watch the goalie. So you watch the goalie, you see if he force fields early. Or you check the gap. If there's a gap there, you can shoot it. I'm not going to talk about shooting much this time, but generally this puts you, since I'm talking about positioning, this puts you in a position where you're threatening multiple angles on the net, and that pass is still there if left open. Whereas when you boost like this, even if Sanji gets this puck, the only thing left that your offense can do is go like this, and there's going to be 2 players to block him. Again, it's a forced 1-on-2 that doesn't need to happen. And again, it has nothing to do with Sanji catching that puck. It's just a bad decision in general. And I don't mean this personally. I'm just being honest. I think everyone would prefer that I just be honest on here. Okay. I'm going to actually highlight this as a pretty good play. The reason this is a good play, even though you're passing incredibly early and there's this much space, this is a good play because the situation here, with the angle that Burchester is moving compared to the angle that Chaotic is moving, you're going to be able to hit a floater right around here. Puck without boosting. Because as soon as you boost, you're going to limit yourself heavily on the shot. So Chaotic, because he's so close to Burchester here, what he should be doing is he should be approaching Burchester and then spamming in this direction very lightly and then boosting. And what that's going to do is that's going to force Burchester to play perfect defense. And you always want to force the defender to do the best thing that he needs to do in order to stop you. So you're forcing Burchester to play perfect defense by following you the whole way, by not pulling out early, and by not just failing to keep his momentum and just falling off while you continue forward. If he does any of those things, you have a one-on-one with the goalie with a ton of space. You'll be out here, and the closest defender will be out here from Demos, and that's an easy goal for pretty much anyone. And we'll talk about shooting from defense, and you always want to force the defender to do the best thing that he needs to do in order to stop you. So you're forcing Burchester to play perfect defense by following you the whole way, by not pulling out early, and by not just failing to keep his momentum and just falling off while you continue forward. If he does any of those things, you have a one-on-one with the goalie with a ton of space. You'll be out here, and the closest defender will be out here from Demos, and that's an easy goal for pretty much anyone. And we'll talk about shooting from situations like that on a different day. But basically, whenever you can get the puck without boosting, you need to try and do so, because that boost is extremely important on offense. Now, he still manages to make something out of this. But again, honestly, that just isn't a good possession on offense. Even though it worked in Probe, that's never going to work in ZHL, and you should try to fix that. Whoever might be doing that. I'm not, like, this is stuff that I see every Probe do. It has nothing to do with these specific players. Okay. So, I'm actually not going to talk about that. That's a defensive error. We'll skip forward. Alright, we have a triangle again. Now, this time you'll notice they're actually setting up the triangle. So we have the puck holder back here. We have our triangle. It's all good. And we'll see what happens. Okay, we pass forward. Now, this is one of those situations where I had on that previous slide, people often ask the question, or they just say, I never seem to be ready when someone passes to me on offense. Now, I'm going to give a piece of advice here for catching on offense. Pretty much all the time, what you should be doing is whenever the puck is released in your general direction, you should be right-clicking towards the puck. And what that's going to do is, so you're clicking here, and then you're clicking here, clicking here. That's going to make absolutely sure that you catch the puck. And this applies anytime the puck comes from behind. If it comes from the side, you don't want to do this. But if it's coming from behind, you actually need to just move your stick back a tiny bit towards the puck. And you do this without hitting X. You just right click backward, and what it'll do is it'll save you a lot of possessions that would otherwise be lost. Just by not being able to catch this. Another thing, if you're the person passing from back here and you're not sure which way this player is going to go. Is he going to go out here, or go here? You should always favor the inside pass. Because if you favor the inside pass, you're giving your teammate the chance, even if he starts going out here, he can go back and grab this, and he's still in a fairly good position on offense. He can get back into this threat zone. Whereas if you miss the pass out here, your offense is over. If your player has to go out here, get challenged by a boost, all of a sudden he's way out here, your offense is done. Honestly, there's nothing you should be able to do from here, especially in ZHL with no boost. You should just get stolen from every time. So you always want to try and miss. If you're going to miss a pass, you want to miss it towards the net. So if you're going to miss, you want to miss on this line, not somewhere out here. We're almost through the first period. It's all good.
We've got about 10 minutes left, so
Yeah, we should
we'll
finish.
go over
I think we'll
about
finish
5
the first
minutes.
period.
I think you should just do 5 minutes more of coaching and then 5 minutes of review.
Okay. All right. Another problem here. And this is another thing that I see players do a lot. And it's all about how you use your boost. Look at this spot for a second. Just look at this beautiful offensive opportunity. We have a defender who has to put himself into the passing lane. He's not even in the passing lane yet. We have two offensive players. One has the puck, one doesn't. If we look at boosts, let's see. Birchester has a boost. Sanji has a boost. Prime doesn't have a boost. This is the perfect situation on offense, and red team just blows it. They just fail super hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is terrible. You should always, always, always threaten both posts in these situations. What you do not want to have happen is one player boosts behind the other player. All of a sudden, all the defender has to do is go right here, and you're done. You're screwed. That's it. Capiche? All the defender has to do is go right here. And all of a sudden, he is blocking this shot. He's blocking this shot. He's blocking all drives. And the goalie doesn't have to force field at all. This shouldn't happen. What you should always have in this situation is either you boost forward and you pass it. So both players boost forward and you pass it. That's one option. Another option, you pass it, this player boosts forward, baits the boost from the defender, player turns around and passes it back, and then you use your boost and score. That's another thing that should happen here. Third thing that should happen here is if the defender, say you boost forward like this, and your player boosts forward like this, and the defender goes like this and covers that player, then all you have to do is you turn inside, you wait for that force field, and when the force field goes off, you have all these options to score, and the defender is sitting back here. These are all ways that you should be manipulating the defender. Pretty much the only thing you don't want to do is what happens right here. This is just... no. Please no. Alright. We'll continue. Okay. We have a triangle again, and here's another no-no.
Ooh, I'll do this.
Okay. Yeah, you can do this one. Let me get
All
back
right.
to it.
So again, just like the other one, you're removing the threat from both sides of the net by chaotic boosting to the bottom side. The goalie only has to sit in one spot, and the defender sit in one spot. So you should always try and stay in the top driving lane, which I hope Water can show on his little thing,
Right.
so that you're threatening both sides for a one timer, for a pass, or just anything else. But by boosting into the sniping lane, you're blocking the snipe, you're removing yourself from the pass, and it's just bad.
Right. So what would happen here is if Prime is actually ready, like let's check Prime's power. Oh, I already have it. He's starting to charge. So in situations where you want to boost on the net, what you should be always doing, unless there's no defense at all. So again, everything I say, there's one special exception. If the defense is like back here and back here, first of all, you shouldn't have to boost. But if you do use your boost, this is okay. But if there's defenders here, you should always be moving up at an angle like this. And that leaves the snipe open. So if Prime boosts forward here, and this goalie uses force field, when that force field is gone, Prime can threaten. Oh god, that's the wrong symbol. Prime can threaten the snipe, or the shot, or the pass. And that's three distinct things that the defense has to worry about. Whereas when chaotic goes up like this, all of a sudden there's only one spot the defense has to be, and it's right here. I'm actually going to say another thing there. Since we're really focusing on offensive positioning, there's one thing I think is really important in Zealot Hockey that people don't do enough, and it's called peeling off. And I tell this to people in random games a lot because it frustrates me quite a bit when my teammates don't do it. Um, if you have a boost and you're not open, you should always favor moving backward instead of boosting forward. The reason for that is simple. Anytime you can get the puck without boosting, it's better. Anytime. So if chaotic were to go back like this, what happens? What happens is this. Demos is either going to get in front of Prime and leave that pass open, or he's going to get on chaotic when chaotic moves backward, and the shot is even more open than it was before. Either of those two things are great for the offense. You're forcing this defender to make a decision. He has to either cover chaotic or cover you. He can't do both at the same time. And again, when your defense doesn't practice a whole lot, making them make decisions is always going to be good. So that's what I call peeling off. Anytime you're not open, you should move backward. The only exception is if you know for a fact. So you're paying attention. You know for a fact that these two players don't have boosts. That's the only time you boost forward here. Because then you're wide open with a one-on-one. If either of them has a boost, you don't do this. It's going to make scoring really difficult. Most of the mistakes that probes make are not mechanical. They're positional. Except for that one. That was a mispass. But most most mistakes that pros make, I'm going to pause. This is a really important thing. Most mistakes that people make are not mechanical. When someone says, say chaotic has the puck right here. Chaotic has the puck. I'm going to draw it. Chaotic has the puck, and he tries to go straight through Burchester. And then he comes to me later, and he complains. And he says, why can't I boost straight through Burchester? The answer is you don't boost straight through Burchester. You just don't do it. Any crazy re-steal play that you see ZHL players make, they've either spent hundreds of hours practicing it, or it's an improv. It's an improv. I never go into offense wanting to go through three people and score. That's never my goal. Ever. I if I were to try that every single play, I would score on like 5% of my possessions as opposed to like 15. I don't know what it is right now, but you don't when you're struggling, and if you only come away with one thing, this is what I want you to come away with. When you're struggling and you don't know why, you're usually attempting something that's too fucking difficult. That is some great writing, by the way. You're attempting something that is too difficult for you to be attempting. Anytime you're trying to go through three people, anytime you're trying to do something like you carry the puck out here and your teammate is out there and there's three defenders here and you're trying this pass, anytime you do that, it's not going to work. It's going to work maybe 2% of the time. So don't come to me or anyone else asking, why does this pass not work? The problem is you shouldn't be attempting it in the first place. So if you don't come away with anything else, that's what I want you to focus on. In the spirit of improving and trying to get better, and as I stream more of these sessions as the season goes on, you always need to think about trying to be efficient and trying to do what works the most instead of trying to attempt things that hardly ever work and then wondering why they don't work. That's a good drive. Okay, so we can do a review while we're on this score screen or after the score screen. So the things that I talked about, number one, and if there's any like time for you to take notes and just like use these to think about how to improve, this is the time. Anytime you're on offense, you should have three people lined up in a triangle like this. You have your number three, you have your puck holder, who of course has the puck, and then you have your receiver. And in any spot as a receiver where you're not open, so there's a defender here, you should be moving backward. What that does is that pulls the defense backward, and that leaves way more opportunities for the puck holder. The only time you boost forward is if you know that this player doesn't have a boost, and you can just boost up for the easy one-on-one. Another thing, you do not want to boost behind your teammates. So you have your triangle, you have the puck, and you decide to boost behind your teammate. Whenever you do that, you should expect all three defenders to move to right here, and you're forcing your teammate. It doesn't matter how good your teammate is, you're forcing him to go through three people. And that's always going to make it really, really tough on him. And I don't think he's going to appreciate it very much. Another thing, if you say you're in the dead zone, so you're out here with the puck, and you only have one teammate forward. So say you have the puck here, draw a puck, your teammate is here, and your other teammate's way back here, and the defense is just clusterfuck all over. When you're in this situation, use your time. No one is pressuring you from here. There's no reason to jam this pass in or jam this drive in for no reason. I just said there's no reason, but there's no reason to do that. What you should be doing is you should wait for this player to catch up so that he draws at least one defender off. You get your boost back if you don't have one. Your receiver gets his boost back if he doesn't have one, and you're spreading out the defense. And from there's a whole lot you can do. You can center the puck like this and then pass. You can center and then shoot. You can go up like this and pass because there's fewer defenders there. Your teammate can peel off while you peel off, and then you can pass out here. You can peel off this way, your teammate peels off this way, and then you boost forward and pass. Or you can both peel, let the defender fall out of the lane, goalie evacs, and then you shoot. There's so many things that you can do when you just follow these few principles. Use your space, maintain the triangle, and don't try stuff that's stupid. And that's all I've got. I should have... Yeah, so I just went to a thanks for watching screen. It's truly elite. So I know I talked a lot, and I didn't give Swift much time to talk.
I'm totally fine with that.
I think I'll have you on next week again, and we'll talk about it ahead of time, and we'll try to split stuff more.
That sounds good. What do we want to let them know what you're planning for next time?
I'm gonna do a poll actually, and that'll be on the forum in the coming days.
All right, so everybody keep checking the forum.
Yeah, it'll be on the same post that I made about this earlier today. Because it was so short notice, I wasn't totally set on doing it today until like 3 hours ago. I didn't bother doing a poll. I just picked offensive positioning. But in the future, I'm going to do a poll for the topic, and I'd like for probes to actually volunteer their replays. So if you want to send me a replay, let me type my email. I'm going to get so much spam, but that's okay. This is a spam email. As my stream is still loading. Okay. My email is waterm94@gmail.com. If you are a probe and you want a replay reviewed, please send that to me. Yeah, that's all I've got. Thanks for watching.